There's a war happening right now, not with weapons or armies, but for something far more valuable: your mind, your attention, your future. And most people are losing without even realizing they are fighting. 2026 will be the year that divides humanity into two groups: those who let the world shape them, and those who shape themselves. Those who live out loud for validation, and those who build in secret for transformation. Those who stay trapped in the noise, and those who discover power in silence. Right now, at this very moment, you are standing at a crossroads. One path leads to more of the same: distraction, comparison, exhaustion, unfulfilled potential. The other path leads somewhere most people never find: to yourself, to your power, to your purpose, to a life so aligned that success becomes inevitable. What you are about to experience isn't just an audiobook. It's a transmission, a code, a key to unlock the version of you that's been buried under years of noise, expectations, and other people's definitions of who you should be. If you're ready to stop performing and start transforming, you are in exactly the right place. Close your eyes. Breathe. Let everything else fade away. Your silent revolution begins now. Imagine a garden. For years, it's been neglected. Weeds have taken over. The soil is depleted. The plants that were meant to grow have been choked out by invasive species that don't belong. This garden is you. And 2026 is the year you reclaim it. But reclaiming a garden isn't loud work. It's not dramatic. It's patient, consistent, silent labor: pulling weeds, enriching soil, planting seeds, watering daily, protecting what's growing from predators. And then, after months of work that nobody sees, something miraculous happens. The garden blooms. This is what transformation actually looks like. Not the highlight reel, not the before and after photo, but the daily, unglamorous, invisible work that nobody applauds but everybody eventually sees the results of. You've been living in a world that taught you to broadcast everything, to share every thought, every meal, every milestone, every moment. You've been conditioned to believe that if something isn't witnessed, it doesn't count. That if you are not constantly visible, you are somehow less valuable. But the opposite is true. The most powerful transformations happen in private. The strongest foundations are built underground. The deepest roots grow in darkness. The greatest achievements are forged in silence. 2026 is asking something radical of you: disappear. Not from your responsibilities. Not from the people who matter. But from the performance. From the constant need to be seen, validated, approved. Disappear from the noise so you can appear for your purpose. This year, you're going to do something that terrifies most people. You're going to spend time with yourself. Real time. Quality time. The kind of time that reveals who you actually are when nobody's watching. And in that revelation, you'll find everything you've been searching for in the noise. You'll discover that motivation is a myth. What you actually need is identity. You'll learn that willpower is unreliable. What you actually need is systems. You'll realize that comparing yourself to others is poison. What you actually need is to compete with who you were yesterday. The world will tell you 2026 is about doing more, being more, achieving more. But for you, 2026 is about becoming more. More aligned. More intentional. More authentic. More powerful. And that becoming happens in the one place most people never look: in the silence. So let this be your declaration. Not spoken to the world, but whispered to yourself. This year, I choose myself. This year, I build in silence. This year, I focus on the only person I can control: me. This year, I will become unstoppable. Welcome to the year that changes everything. Chapter 1. The Noise Epidemic. We are living through an epidemic, but nobody is calling it that. It's not a virus. It's not a disease. It's noise. And it's infecting every aspect of human life, quietly destroying our ability to think, create, and become. Noise is not just sound. Noise is anything that fragments your attention without adding value. Noise is the endless scroll. Noise is the notification you don't need. Noise is the news you can't change. Noise is the opinion of someone who doesn't know you. Noise is the comparison to someone who's on a completely different path. Noise is the expectation that was never yours. Noise is the drama that doesn't concern you. And noise is everywhere. It's engineered to be everywhere. Because attention is the most valuable commodity in the world, and noise is how attention is captured, held, and monetized. Think about your typical day. You wake up, and within seconds, you are in the noise. Phone notifications, messages, emails, social media, news headlines. Before you've even left your bed, your mind has been pulled in 50 different directions. You haven't had a single original thought yet, and already your attention has been hijacked. You go through your day in this fragmented state. Part of your mind is on the task in front of you. Part is replaying a conversation from yesterday. Part is worrying about tomorrow. Part is comparing yourself to someone you saw online. Part is distracted by the next notification. You are never fully present anywhere. You are scattered. By evening, you are exhausted, but you haven't actually done anything meaningful. You've been busy, yes. You've been productive in the surface-level sense. But deep work, creative work, transformative work, none of that happened, because noise doesn't allow for depth. Noise keeps you perpetually shallow. And here's the insidious part. The noise makes you feel like you're living. It creates the illusion of connection, the appearance of productivity, the sensation of engagement. But it's all counterfeit. You are not connecting. You are performing connection. You are not producing. You are consuming and calling it work. You are not engaged. You are distracted and calling it multitasking. The noise epidemic has created a generation of people who are physically present but mentally absent, who are constantly busy but never fulfilled, who have thousands of connections but feel deeply alone, who have access to infinite information but lack wisdom, who can communicate instantly with anyone but have lost the ability to sit with themselves. This is not an accident. The noise is designed. Social media platforms employ psychologists to make their products addictive. Apps use intermittent rewards to keep you checking. Autoplay features ensure you keep consuming. Algorithms learn your triggers and serve you more of what keeps you hooked. The entire digital ecosystem is engineered to ensure you never experience silence. But why? Because silence is dangerous to the noise merchants. Silence is where you remember who you are. Silence is where you realize you don't need half of what they're selling. Silence is where you discover your own voice. Silence is where you build the life you actually want instead of the life they're profiting from. The noise epidemic is also a mental health crisis in disguise. Anxiety rates are skyrocketing. Depression is an epidemic. Attention spans are collapsing. Sleep quality is deteriorating. And while there are many factors, the constant noise is a major contributor. The human nervous system was not designed for perpetual stimulation. We need rest. We need quiet. We need space to process, integrate, and recover. But we are not getting it. Instead, we are getting more noise, louder, faster, more intrusive, and we are calling it progress. Here's what the noise is stealing from you: your ability to think deeply. Depth requires sustained attention, and the noise ensures your attention is never sustained. Your creativity. Creativity emerges from boredom and silence, and the noise ensures you never experience either. Your self-knowledge. Knowing yourself requires self-reflection, and the noise keeps you externally focused. Your peace. Peace comes from presence, and the noise keeps you perpetually elsewhere. The noise is also stealing your future, because your future is built in the hours you have today. And if those hours are consumed by noise, your future is being sacrificed for someone else's profit. But here's the powerful truth: you can opt out. Not entirely. You can't abandon technology or become a hermit. But you can become radically selective about what noise you allow in. You can build filters. You can create boundaries. You can design your life in a way that protects your attention from the epidemic. And when you do, something miraculous happens. Your mind clears, your energy returns, your creativity flows, your anxiety decreases, your sleep improves, your relationships deepen, your productivity increases, not because you are doing more, but because you are doing less noise, more signals. The cure for the noise epidemic is not more information. It's not another app or hack or system. The cure is something ancient and radical. Silence. Deliberate, protected, sacred silence. Silence where you reclaim your attention. Silence where you reconnect with yourself. Silence where you remember what actually matters. 2026 is the year you declare independence from the noise. You are not going to eliminate it entirely, but you are going to dramatically reduce it. You are going to treat your attention as the precious resource it is. You are going to protect your mind the way you'd protect your home. You are going to choose signal over noise, depth over distraction, presence over performance. And when you do, you'll discover something the noise has been hiding from you. You are more powerful than you've been led to believe. You are more capable than the noise suggested. You are more complete than the noise implied. You don't need most of what the noise is selling. What you need is within you, and you can only access it in the silence. So let this be your first act of rebellion. Turn off the noise. Not forever. Just for this moment. Just for this message. Give yourself the gift of your own attention. Stop letting the world interrupt your becoming. Start protecting the space where transformation happens. The noise will always be there, waiting to pull you back. But so will the silence, ready to welcome you home. Chapter 2. The Myth of Multitasking. There's a lie you've been told your entire life. A lie so pervasive, so accepted, that questioning it seems foolish. The lie is this: you can do multiple things at once and do them all well. This is the myth of multitasking, and it's destroying your potential. Here's the truth: multitasking doesn't exist. What you call multitasking is actually rapid task switching. Your brain cannot fully focus on two complex tasks simultaneously. What it does instead is quickly shift attention between tasks. And every shift has a cost. Psychologists call it switching cost or attention residue. When you switch from task A to task B, part of your attention remains stuck on task A. Your brain doesn't instantly and completely transition. There's residue. And this residue degrades the quality of your focus on task B. Imagine you are writing an important email. Halfway through, a notification pops up. You check it. It's a message about tonight's dinner plans. You respond. Then you return to the email. But you are not fully back. Part of your brain is still thinking about dinner, about the restaurant, about what you'll wear. The email you finish is less thoughtful, less clear than it would have been if you'd never been interrupted. This happens dozens, maybe hundreds of times per day. You are never fully anywhere. You are always partially elsewhere. And the cumulative cost is devastating. Studies show that it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully recover from a single interruption. 23 minutes to get back to the level of focus you had before. But most people don't go 23 minutes without an interruption. They might not go 23 seconds. Which means they spend their entire day in a state of partial attention, never accessing their full cognitive capacity. The myth of multitasking is costing you intelligence. When you are constantly switching tasks, you are operating at maybe 60 to 70% of your cognitive ability. You are literally making yourself dumber. You are missing details. You are making more mistakes. You are producing lower quality work. And you are wondering why you feel mentally exhausted at the end of the day despite not accomplishing anything significant. But the damage goes deeper than productivity. Multitasking is training your brain for distraction. Every time you respond to a notification, check your phone during a conversation, or switch tasks impulsively, you are reinforcing neural pathways for distraction. You are making distraction your default mode. And over time, you lose the ability to focus deeply even when you want to. This is why so many people struggle to read a book, watch a movie without checking their phone, or have a conversation without their mind wandering. It's not a character flaw. It's a learned behavior. And what's learned can be unlearned. The myth of multitasking is also destroying your relationships. When you are with someone but also checking your phone, you are not present. You might think you are listening, but you are not. Not really. Your attention is divided. And the other person feels it. They feel like they're only getting a fraction of you. And they're right. Relationships require full attention. Connection requires presence. But multitasking has trained us to give everyone and everything partial attention. We are always half present. Always somewhat engaged, but never fully. And we wonder why our relationships feel shallow, why we feel lonely despite being constantly connected. Here's another cost. Multitasking is stealing your creativity. Creativity doesn't happen in the cracks between tasks. Creativity requires deep, sustained focus. It requires getting into a flow state where you are so absorbed in what you are doing that time disappears. But flow states require about 15 to 20 minutes of uninterrupted focus to enter. If you are switching tasks every few minutes, you never enter flow. You never access your creative potential. The myth of multitasking also makes you feel busier than you are. Because you are always doing something. Always responding. Always switching. But being busy is not the same as being productive. Being busy is not the same as being effective. You can be incredibly busy and accomplish nothing meaningful. In fact, multitasking often makes you busy precisely to avoid the discomfort of deep work. Deep work is hard. It's uncomfortable. It requires sustained mental effort. It's much easier to stay surface level, responding to messages, checking updates, switching tasks. This feels productive, but it's procrastination disguised as productivity. So what's the alternative? Single tasking. Monotasking. Doing one thing at a time with your full attention. This sounds simple, even obvious. But it's revolutionary in practice. Single tasking means when you are writing, you are only writing. No phone. No email. No other tabs open. Just you and the writing. When you are in a conversation, you are only in that conversation. No phone on the table. No wandering thoughts about what you need to do later. Just you and the person. When you are eating, you are only eating. Not watching TV. Not scrolling. Not reading. Just tasting, chewing, experiencing the food. This is presence. This is how you reclaim your attention. This is how you access your full capacity. Single tasking feels slow at first. Because you are used to the stimulation of constant switching. But here's the paradox. Single tasking is actually much faster. Because you are working at full capacity without the switching cost. You enter flow states. You produce higher quality work in less time. What might take 3 hours while multitasking takes 1 hour with single tasking. Single tasking also feels more satisfying. Because you are fully engaged. You are experiencing completion. You are seeing the fruits of sustained effort. Whereas multitasking leaves you feeling scattered and unfulfilled because you never fully complete anything. Here's how to implement single tasking. First, create blocks of time for specific tasks. Not just, I'll work on this project, but, from 9 to 11 a.m., I'm writing the report. Nothing else. Second, eliminate distractions before you begin. Phone on silent in another room. Email closed. Only the tabs you need for this specific task. Create an environment that supports focus. Third, practice coming back. Your mind will wander. You'll feel the urge to check something. This is normal. The practice is noticing when your attention has wandered and gently bringing it back. Again and again. This is not failure. This is the practice. You are training your attention muscle. Fourth, start small. If you can't focus for 2 hours, start with 25 minutes. Use a timer. Focus completely for that time. Then take a break. Gradually increase the duration as your capacity grows. Fifth, batch similar tasks. Instead of responding to emails throughout the day, have to specific times for email. Instead of making calls randomly, have a call block. This reduces switching costs and increases efficiency. The myth of multitasking is deeply embedded in our culture. "I'm a great multitasker," is said with pride, as if it's a desirable skill. But it's not. What's desirable is the ability to focus deeply on one thing at a time. That's the actual superpower. That's what separates mediocre from exceptional. In 2026, while everyone else is scattered across a dozen tasks, you are going to be different. You are going to do one thing at a time. Fully. Completely. With your entire attention. And the quality of your work, your relationships, and your life will reflect this choice. Single tasking is not about doing less. It's about being more. More present. More focused. More effective. More alive. And it starts with letting go of the myth that divided attention is strength. It's not. Unified attention is strength. And that's what you are building. Chapter 3. The truth about motivation. Everyone is looking for motivation. They watch motivational videos, read inspiring quotes, and listen to success stories. They feel a surge of energy, of possibility, of determination. And then, a day later, maybe two, the feeling fades. They are back to where they started, maybe even more discouraged because they realize motivation is temporary. Here's what nobody tells you. Motivation is a feeling. And feelings are inherently unstable. They rise and fall based on sleep, hormones, circumstances, mood, energy levels. Basing your transformation on motivation is like building a house on sand. It feels good at the moment, but it won't hold. The truth about motivation is that it's great for starting, terrible for continuing. Motivation gets you off the couch. Motivation makes you sign up for the gym. Motivation makes you buy the books, start the project, set the goal. But motivation doesn't make you keep going when the excitement fades, when the work gets hard, when nobody's watching. So if motivation doesn't work for long-term change, what does? Systems, identity, environment. These are the real drivers of transformation. And they are completely different from motivation. Let's start with systems. A system is a set of processes that produce results regardless of how you feel. A morning routine is a system. A meal prep schedule is a system. A writing habit is a system. Systems don't depend on motivation. They are automatic. You do them because they are part of your life structure, not because you feel inspired. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't wait until you feel motivated to brush your teeth. You don't watch videos about dental hygiene to psych yourself up. You just do it because it's a system in your life. That's the power of systems. They bypass the need for motivation entirely. Now think about identity. Identity is who you believe you are. And people act in alignment with their identity, even when they don't feel motivated. If you identify as a runner, you run. Not because you're motivated, but because that's what runners do. If you identify as a writer, you write. If you identify as someone who values health, you make healthy choices. The shift from motivation-based change to identity-based change is profound. Instead of, "I want to lose weight," motivation, you say, "I'm the type of person who takes care of my body," identity. Instead of, "I should read more," motivation, you say, "I'm a reader," identity. The goal is not to do something. The goal is to become someone. And here's the beautiful part. Every action you take is a vote for your identity. Every time you exercise, you are voting for the identity of someone who is fit. Every time you write, you are voting for the identity of the writer. Every time you meditate, you are voting for the identity of someone who is centered. You don't need to feel motivated. You just need to cast the vote. Environment is the third driver. Your environment shapes your behavior more than you realize. If healthy food is visible and accessible, you eat healthy. If your gym clothes are laid out, you are more likely to exercise. If your workspace is clear of distractions, you are more likely to focus. Most people try to change through willpower, while living in an environment that supports their old habits. They want to eat healthy while keeping junk food in the house. They want to focus while keeping their phone next to them. They want to sleep better while watching TV in bed. This is fighting against your environment. And your environment almost always wins. Instead of relying on willpower, design your environment to make good choices easy and bad choices hard. Remove temptations. Add cues for good habits. Create friction for bad habits and remove friction for good habits. This is how you set yourself up for success, regardless of motivation. Now, here's the thing about motivation. It's not useless. Motivation is the spark. It's what gets you started. It's what makes you realize change is possible. But you cannot sustain change with motivation alone. You need to quickly convert motivation into systems, identity, and environment. When you feel motivated, use that energy to set up systems. Create routines. Schedule time. Build infrastructure. Because when motivation fades, and it will, the systems will carry you. When you feel motivated, use that clarity to define your identity. Who are you becoming? What type of person do you want to be? Write it down. Make it concrete. Because when motivation fades, identity will guide you. When you feel motivated, use that momentum to redesign your environment. Remove obstacles. Add support. Make the right thing the easy thing. Because when motivation fades, your environment will nudge you in the right direction. The goal is to need as little motivation as possible. Not because motivation is bad, but because transformation that depends on motivation is fragile. But transformation that's built on systems, identity, and environment is resilient. It survives bad days, stressful seasons, and low energy. Think about it this way. Motivation is like being in love. It's a wonderful feeling. But successful relationships aren't built on the feeling of being in love. They are built on commitment, communication, shared values, and daily practices. The feeling comes and goes, but the relationship endures because it's built on something deeper. Your transformation is the same. The excitement of starting comes and goes. But your transformation endures because it's built on something deeper than feelings. It's built on structure, on identity, on deliberate design. This is liberating. Because it means you don't have to wait to feel motivated. You don't have to psych yourself up or consume motivational content endlessly. You just need to show up to your systems, act from your identity, and let your environment support you. Motivation becomes irrelevant. And here's the paradox. When you stop chasing motivation and start building systems, you actually feel more motivated. Because you are seeing results. You are keeping promises to yourself. You are building self-trust. And that creates a genuine, sustainable form of motivation that comes from within rather than from external sources. In 2026, you are going to do something radical. You are going to stop waiting to feel motivated. You are going to build systems that don't require motivation. You are going to embody an identity that guides your actions. You are going to design an environment that supports your goals. And you are going to discover that transformation doesn't come from feeling good. It comes from showing up regardless of how you feel. This is the truth about motivation. It's a luxury, not a necessity. And the moment you stop needing it, you become unstoppable. Chapter 4. The Comparison Trap. Every time you compare yourself to someone else, you lose. Not because they are better than you, but because comparison itself is a rigged game. It's a game where the rules constantly change, where the finish line keeps moving, where winning is impossible. Social media has turned comparison into a full-time occupation. Every scroll is a comparison. Every post is a measurement. Every like is a validation or a wound, depending on the number. You are constantly evaluating where you stand relative to others. And no matter where you stand, it never feels like enough. Here's why comparison is so damaging. You are comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. You know all your struggles, doubts, failures, and fears. You live in your messy reality. But with others, you only see the curated version, the best moments, the achievements, the success. So you are comparing your full, complex, struggling humanity to someone else's edited, polished, public persona. This is not just unfair. It's impossible to win. You are playing a game where you are always at a disadvantage because you know too much about yourself and too little about them. The comparison trap also distorts your perception of your own progress. Maybe you are making incredible strides. Maybe you are transforming in ways that are significant and real. But if someone else seems to be moving faster, achieving more, or succeeding bigger, your progress feels inadequate. You discount your wins because they don't measure up to someone else's. This is madness. Your progress is valid regardless of anyone else's progress. Your journey is unique. Your starting point is different. Your obstacles are different. Your resources are different. Your timeline is different. Comparing your journey to someone else's is like comparing a mountain climber's progress to a swimmer's. They are not even in the same medium. The comparison trap also steals your joy. You achieve something you've been working toward for months. You should feel proud, fulfilled, excited. But instead, you immediately think of someone who's achieved more. Your joy is stolen by comparison. You can't even celebrate your own wins because you are too busy measuring them against others. Here's another insidious effect. Comparison makes you want the wrong things. You start pursuing goals not because they align with your values or desires, but because others have them and you don't want to feel less than. You want the house, the car, the body, the relationship, the lifestyle not because you actually want them, but because comparison convinced you that you should want them. This leads to a life that looks impressive from the outside, but feels empty on the inside. You are achieving milestones that don't actually matter to you. You are climbing a ladder that's leaning against the wrong wall. And when you finally reach the top, you realize you wasted years on someone else's definition of success. Comparison also breeds resentment. When you are constantly comparing, you develop negative feelings toward people who are succeeding. You can't genuinely celebrate their wins because their wins highlight your perceived lack. This resentment poisons relationships and isolates you from potential connections and communities. The antidote to comparison is not positive thinking or affirmations. The antidote is radical focus on your own path. This means several things. First, it means defining success for yourself. Not adopting society's definition. Not copying someone you admire. But sitting in silence and asking, what do I actually want? What matters to me? What would fulfillment look like for me specifically? Your answers will be different from everyone else's. And that's exactly right. Second, it means measuring yourself against yourself. The only comparison that matters is, am I better than I was yesterday? Last month? Last year? This is the only measurement that's fair, accurate, and productive, because you are comparing apples to apples. Same person, same circumstances, just different points in time. Keep a record of your progress. Journal, take photos, track metrics, not to share publicly, but to remind yourself of how far you've come. Because memory is unreliable. You'll forget where you started. You'll discount your growth. The record is proof that you're moving forward, even when it doesn't feel like it. Third, it means curating your inputs. If following certain people on social media triggers comparison and makes you feel inadequate, unfollow them. This is not a weakness. This is wisdom. You are protecting your mental health and your focus. Your feed should inspire you, educate you, or entertain you. If it's doing none of those things, it's wasting your attention. Fourth, it means practicing gratitude for your unique path. Your journey has given you experiences, insights, and strengths that nobody else has. Your struggles have shaped you in valuable ways. Your timeline is perfect for you, even if it doesn't match anyone else's. Fifth, it means celebrating others genuinely. When you see someone succeeding, instead of feeling threatened or inadequate, ask, What can I learn from them? How can their success inspire my own efforts? Transform comparison into education. Transform envy into inspiration. But here's the deepest shift. You stop comparing when you realize you're not in competition with anyone. There's no scoreboard, no rankings, no finite amount of success where someone else's win means your loss. Success is not a zero-sum game. Someone else getting fit doesn't make it harder for you to get fit. Someone else starting a business doesn't make it harder for you to start yours. Someone else finding love doesn't make it harder for you to find love. Their success has zero impact on your potential for success. In fact, their success proves it's possible. Their success shows that transformation is real. Their success can light the path for you, but only if you are not busy comparing yourself to them. The comparison trap is so normalized in our culture that opting out feels radical. But it's necessary for your sanity and your success. You cannot build a meaningful life while constantly measuring yourself against others. You cannot find peace while your worth fluctuates based on external comparisons. In 2026, you're going to do something that most people never do. You're going to stop comparing. You're going to put blinders on and focus solely on your path. You're going to measure progress by your own metrics. You are going to define success by your own values. You are going to celebrate your wins without discounting them. And you are going to cheer for others without feeling threatened. This is not easy. Your brain is wired for social comparison. It's a survival mechanism from when fitting into the tribe meant life or death. But you are not in a tribe fighting for survival. You are in a modern world with infinite possibilities. And comparison in this context doesn't serve you. It only harms you. So let go. Let go of needing to be ahead. Let go of fearing being behind. Let go of measuring yourself against anyone but who you were yesterday. Your only job is to become the fullest expression of yourself. And that has nothing to do with anyone else. Chapter 5. The Power of Boredom. Boredom has been eradicated from modern life. Every idle moment is filled. Every waiting period is occupied. Every silence is covered. You stand in line. You check your phone. You wait for a friend. You scroll social media. You lie in bed. You watch videos. You drive. You listen to podcasts. You eat. You watch TV. You've been conditioned to believe that boredom is the enemy. That empty time is wasted time. That stimulation equals productivity and engagement equals living. But this is wrong. Dangerously wrong. Boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is the gateway. Gateway to creativity, to insight, to innovation, to self-knowledge. Everything valuable that humans have created has emerged from boredom. Every invention, every piece of art, every scientific breakthrough started with someone sitting in boredom long enough for inspiration to arrive. But you are never bored anymore. Not truly. Not for more than a few seconds before you reach for a device. And in eliminating boredom, you've eliminated the conditions necessary for breakthrough thinking. Here's what happens in boredom. Your mind wanders. It makes unexpected connections. It consolidates memories. It processes emotions. It generates ideas. It solves problems that conscious thinking couldn't crack. The default mode network in your brain, which activates during rest and boredom, is where creativity happens. But it only activates when you are not constantly consuming content. Think about your best ideas. Where did they come from? Probably not while you were scrolling. Probably in the shower, or on a walk, or lying in bed before sleep, or staring out a window. These are moments of boredom. Moments where your mind was free to wander. Moments where you weren't forcing anything, just allowing. Creativity requires space. Your brain needs downtime to process all the information it's absorbed, to connect dots, to generate original thoughts. But if you are constantly inputting, constantly consuming, constantly stimulated, your brain never gets that processing time. You are all input, no output. All consumption, no creation. Boredom is also where you meet yourself. When there's no distraction, no entertainment, no stimulation, you are left with your thoughts and feelings. And for most people, this is uncomfortable. Because unexamined emotions surface. Unresolved issues emerge. Uncomfortable truths appear. So people avoid boredom. They stay perpetually distracted to avoid feeling things they don't want to feel. But this avoidance doesn't make the emotions go away. It just buries them deeper. And buried emotions don't disappear. They manifest as anxiety, depression, irritability, and physical symptoms. Boredom allows you to feel what needs to be felt, to process what needs to be processed, to heal what needs to be healed. But only if you are willing to sit with it, instead of immediately distracting yourself. There's also the issue of addiction. Constant stimulation is addictive. Your brain releases dopamine in response to novelty and reward. Every notification, every like, every new piece of content triggers a small dopamine hit. Over time, your brain adjusts. It needs more stimulation to feel normal. You become dependent on the hits. This is why boredom feels so intolerable now. You are not just unstimulated. You are in mild withdrawal. Your brain is craving the dopamine it's become accustomed to. And the only way to recalibrate is to allow boredom. To sit through the discomfort until your brain resets to a healthier baseline. Boredom also reveals what you actually care about. When you are bored, with no external input guiding your attention, your mind gravitates toward what matters to you. The problems you are trying to solve. The projects you are passionate about. The relationships that are important. The questions that intrigue you. But if you never experience boredom, you never discover what you are naturally drawn to. You are always being directed by algorithms, by content creators, by the loudest voices. You lose touch with your own interests, your own curiosities, your own desires. So how do you reclaim boredom? Intentionally create spaces for it. This might feel ridiculous at first. Scheduling boredom? But it's necessary. Because boredom won't happen naturally in your life anymore. You have to make it happen. Start with small windows. 10 minutes of sitting with no phone, no book, no podcast, no distraction. Just sitting. Your mind will resist. You'll feel restless. You'll want to check something. Don't. Sit through it. Notice the discomfort. Notice the thoughts that arise. Notice what your mind does when it has nothing to do. Gradually extend these windows. 20 minutes. An hour. Go for walks without headphones. Eat meals without screens. Sit in waiting rooms without pulling out your phone. Let boredom exist. You'll notice something strange. After the initial discomfort, boredom becomes peaceful. Your nervous system calms. Your mind clears. Ideas emerge. You feel more like yourself. This is your natural state. This is what your mind is like when it's not hijacked by constant stimulation. Boredom also makes other experiences more enjoyable. When you are accustomed to constant stimulation, nothing feels stimulating enough. A good conversation feels boring because it's not as engaging as your favorite show. A walk feels pointless because it's not as interesting as social media. Real life pales in comparison to the engineered entertainment you are consuming. But when you regularly experience boredom, real life becomes vibrant again. A conversation is fascinating. A walk is refreshing. Simple pleasures are actually pleasurable. You've recalibrated your baseline, so normal experiences feel rich again. Boredom is also when you develop taste. When you are constantly consuming whatever algorithm feeds you, you never develop your own preferences. But in boredom, you discover what you actually like, not what you are told to like. You develop your own aesthetic, your own interests, your own voice. The greatest minds in history protected their boredom. Einstein took long walks. Newton stared at apple trees. Rowling sat in cafes. They understood that breakthrough thinking doesn't come from more input. It comes from space. From allowing the mind to wander in the emptiness. You are not Einstein or Newton or Rowling. But you have the same human brain. The same capacity for insight and creativity. You just need to create the conditions for it. And that condition is boredom. In 2026, you are going to do something countercultural. You are going to embrace boredom. You are going to create space for it. You are going to sit with it. You are going to resist the urge to fill every moment. And you are going to discover that in the apparent emptiness of boredom lies the fullness of creativity, insight, and peace. Boredom is not something to avoid. It's something to cultivate. It's not dead time. It's alive time. It's not wasted time. It's sacred time. And it's where you'll find some of your most valuable ideas, insights, and moments of clarity. Chapter 6. The Language of Boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. Boundaries are not rejection. Boundaries are not selfish. Boundaries are the language of self-respect. They are how you teach people how to treat you. They are how you protect your energy, your time, and your peace. And most people don't speak this language fluently. You've been taught that being accommodating is virtuous. That saying yes makes you kind, helpful, and valuable. That putting others' needs before your own is noble. And while service and generosity are important, they're not supposed to come at the cost of your well-being. But that's what happens when you lack boundaries. You give until you are depleted. You say yes until you resent everyone. You accommodate until you have nothing left for yourself. And then you wonder why you are exhausted, why you feel taken advantage of, why you never have time for your own goals. The problem is not that people are taking from you. The problem is that you are not setting limits. You are not communicating what's acceptable and what's not. You are not enforcing consequences when boundaries are crossed. You are teaching people that your time, your energy, your peace are available without limits. And people will take what you offer. Not because they are bad people, but because humans naturally expand into available space. If you make yourself endlessly available, people will endlessly access you. If you always say yes, people will always ask. They are not mind readers. They don't know you are drowning unless you tell them. Learning the language of boundaries means several things. First, it means knowing your limits. What's okay and what's not okay? How much can you actually handle? What drains you? What energizes you? You can't set boundaries if you don't know where your edges are. Most people don't know because they've never paused to figure it out. They just keep accommodating until they break. Spend time identifying your boundaries. Physical boundaries, who can touch you and how. Emotional boundaries, what conversations you are willing to have, what emotional labor you can take on. Time boundaries, when you are available and when you are not. Energy boundaries, which relationships feed you and which drain you. Resource boundaries, what you can afford to give financially, materially. Second, it means communicating your boundaries clearly. You can't expect people to respect boundaries they don't know exist. You need to speak to them. Not apologetically, not aggressively, but clearly and calmly. I'm not available after 8 p.m. I need notice before guests come over. I can't take on more projects right now. I'm not comfortable with that conversation. Most people either don't communicate boundaries at all, or they communicate them poorly. They hint. They hope people will just know. They drop passive-aggressive comments. This doesn't work. Clear is kind. Direct is respectful. Say what you mean. Third, it means enforcing boundaries with consequences. Communicating a boundary without enforcing it is just a suggestion. If you say you are not available after 8 p.m. but then respond to messages anyway, you've taught the person that your boundary is flexible. That you don't mean it. Enforcement doesn't mean being harsh. It means following through. If someone repeatedly ignores your boundary, you reduce access. If someone can't respect your time, you stop making time for them. If someone drains your energy despite your requests to stop, you create distance. This feels harsh because you've been taught that maintaining relationships is more important than maintaining yourself. But a relationship that requires you to abandon yourself is not healthy. And enabling boundary violations helps neither you nor them. Fourth, it means dealing with pushback. When you start setting boundaries, people who benefited from your lack of boundaries will resist. They'll call you selfish. They'll guilt you. They'll try to manipulate you back into compliance. This is normal. And it's a test. If you yield to the pushback, you reinforce that your boundaries are negotiable. If you hold firm, you teach people that you've changed and they need to adjust. The people who truly care about you will adjust. The people who only valued what they could take from you will leave. And that's okay. That's actually perfect. You are filtering your life for genuine connections. Fifth, it means saying no without guilt. No is a complete sentence. You don't owe everyone an explanation. You don't need to justify your boundaries. No, that doesn't work for me, is sufficient. If someone demands an explanation, that's a sign they don't respect your autonomy. Healthy people accept no at face value. The guilt you feel when saying no is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It's a sign that you are breaking old patterns. You are used to accommodating. Your nervous system is used to prioritizing others. Feeling guilt doesn't mean you should change your decision. It means you are growing. Sixth, it means maintaining boundaries even when it's inconvenient. The test of a boundary is when keeping it costs you something. When saying no means disappointing someone. When enforcing it means conflict. When maintaining it means missing out. This is when most people cave. But this is also when the boundary matters most. Boundaries are not about being rigid or inflexible. There's a difference between healthy boundaries and walls. Boundaries are flexible when you choose flexibility. Walls are rigid defenses that keep everyone out. Boundaries allow connection while protecting your well-being. Walls prevent connection out of fear. Healthy boundaries allow you to say yes when it genuinely works for you, and no when it doesn't. They allow you to be generous without being depleted. They allow you to be present without being exhausted. They allow you to love without losing yourself. Boundaries also teach you about yourself. When you enforce boundaries and pay attention, you learn what you actually value, what matters to you, what you are willing to protect. This self-knowledge is invaluable. It clarifies your priorities and shapes your life. The language of boundaries also transforms your relationships. The people who remain after you set boundaries are people who respect you, who value you for who you are, not what you can do for them. These are the relationships worth keeping. The relationships that feed you rather than drain you. Setting boundaries also increases your capacity to give. When you are not depleted, when you are not resentful, when you are not exhausted, you actually have more to offer. You can be more present, more generous, more loving because you are giving from overflow rather than from depletion. In 2026, you are going to learn to speak the language of boundaries fluently. You are going to identify your limits, communicate them clearly, enforce them consistently, handle pushback gracefully, say no without guilt, and maintain them even when it's hard. This will change your life. Your energy will return. Your resentment will fade. Your time will open up. Your relationships will improve. Your self-respect will grow. And you'll wonder why you didn't learn this language sooner. Boundaries are not about keeping people out. They are about keeping yourself intact. They are not about being harsh. They are about being honest. They are not about depriving others. They are about honoring yourself. And that honor is not selfish. It's essential. Chapter 7. The Ritual of Rest. Rest is not a reward. Rest is not something you earn after you've worked hard enough. Rest is not laziness. Rest is a biological necessity, a creative requirement, and a strategic advantage. But somewhere along the way, hustle culture convinced you that rest is weakness. You've been taught that success comes from constant effort, from burning the candle at both ends, from grinding when everyone else is sleeping. And while hard work is important, the glorification of exhaustion is destroying you. Burnout is at epidemic levels. People are exhausted, anxious, and depressed. They are working more hours than ever but producing less quality work. They are busy but not effective. And they are wearing their exhaustion like a badge of honor, competing over who's more tired, who slept less, who worked longer. This is madness. Exhaustion is not a virtue. It's a sign of imbalance. It's your body screaming that something needs to change. But instead of listening, you push harder. You drink more coffee, use more willpower, force more productivity. And you wonder why you are falling apart. Here's the truth. Rest is when your body repairs itself. When your mind processes information. When your creativity regenerates. When your nervous system resets. When your immune system strengthens. When your memories consolidate. When your emotions integrate. Without adequate rest, none of these processes happen properly. You are operating at a fraction of your capacity. You are making more mistakes. You are less creative. You are more irritable. You are less resilient. You are slowly destroying your health. And calling it ambition. The ritual of rest means treating rest as sacred. Not something you squeeze in if you have time, but something you schedule and protect like your most important meeting. Because it is your most important meeting. It's a meeting with your body, your mind, your spirit. And it's non-negotiable. Rest has multiple forms, and you need all of them. Sleep is the foundation. 7 to 9 hours for most adults. Not negotiable. Not something you sacrifice for productivity. Because sleep deprivation doesn't just make you tired. It impairs cognitive function, emotional regulation, immune response, metabolism, and decision-making. One night of poor sleep can reduce your cognitive ability to the level of being legally drunk. Yet people proudly announce they only need 4 or 5 hours. This is not a superpower. This is self-harm. You might function on less sleep, but you don't function well. And the effects compound. Chronic sleep deprivation is linked to nearly every major disease. Treat sleep as sacred. Have a consistent bedtime. Create a sleep environment that supports rest. Dark, cool, quiet. Avoid screens before bed. Avoid stimulants late in the day. Wind down properly. Your sleep quality directly impacts your life quality. Physical rest is different from sleep. This is giving your body a break from movement and exertion. If you train hard, you need rest days. If you sit all day, you need gentle movement rest, like stretching or walking. Listen to your body. Pain is a signal. Exhaustion is a signal. Ignoring these signals leads to injury and breakdown. Mental rest is crucial but often overlooked. Your brain needs breaks from cognitive work. You can't think clearly for 8 straight hours. You need periods where your mind is not actively problem-solving or focusing. This is why breaks increase productivity. They are not wasting time. They are recovery time that allows you to work more effectively. Try the 90-minute work, 15-minute rest rhythm. Work intensely for 90 minutes, then take a real break. Not a scroll through social media break. A walk. A stretch. Closing your eyes. Letting your mind wander. Then return to work refreshed. Emotional rest is about not having to be on emotionally. Not having to manage other people's emotions. Not having to perform a particular emotional state. Just being allowed to feel whatever you feel without judgment or requirement. This is why solitude is important. In solitude, you can drop the emotional performance. You don't have to smile if you don't feel like it. You don't have to be upbeat if you are not. You can just be. This emotional authenticity is restful. Social rest is about taking breaks from social interaction. Even extroverts need this. Constant social engagement is draining. You need time where you're not managing relationships, not reading social cues, not engaging with others' needs. Just time alone or in comfortable silence with trusted people. Sensory rest is about reducing stimulation. Your senses are constantly bombarded. Visual, screens, lights, auditory, noise, music, olfactory, tactile. This constant input is exhausting. You need periods of reduced stimulation, dark, quiet rooms, nature, silence, closing your eyes. This allows your nervous system to calm. Creative rest is about replenishing your creative well. If you create for work, you need to consume creativity for rest. Read fiction, visit art museums, listen to music, watch films, engage with beauty and creativity without the pressure to produce anything. This refills your creative reservoir. Spiritual rest is about connecting to something larger than yourself. Whether that's nature, religion, meditation, or simply moments of awe. This perspective-taking is deeply restful because it reminds you that you are part of something bigger. Your problems, while real, are also small in the grand scheme. The ritual of rest also means weekly rhythms. The concept of Sabbath, a day of rest, exists in multiple traditions for a reason. Humans need a regular cycle of work and rest. One day a week where you are not productive, not working toward goals, not checking email, just resting, playing, connecting, being. This feels impossible in modern life. There's always something that needs doing. But that's exactly why it's necessary. The urgency never ends. There will always be more to do. If you wait until everything's done to rest, you'll never rest. The ritual of rest also means rest without guilt. You've internalized the belief that rest must be earned, that you are only allowed to rest after you've been productive enough. This is toxic. Rest is a biological need, not a reward. You need rest to be productive. Rest comes before productivity, not after. When you rest, your subconscious mind works. Problems you couldn't consciously solve get solved in rest. Ideas emerge. Insights arrive. Rest is not unproductive. Rest is a different form of productivity. It's the recovery that allows future performance. Athletes understand this. They don't train 7 days a week at maximum intensity. They periodize. Intense training followed by recovery. This cycle allows for growth. The growth doesn't happen during training. It happens during rest when the body adapts to the training stimulus. Your life works the same way. Intense work periods followed by genuine rest. This cycle allows for sustainable high performance. But most people work intensely without rest. They wonder why they're not progressing, why they're burning out, why their health is failing. In 2026, you are going to change your relationship with rest. You are going to treat it as essential, not optional. You are going to schedule it, protect it, and engage in it without guilt. You are going to prioritize sleep, take breaks, reduce stimulation, spend time alone, and honor one day a week as truly restful. And you are going to discover something profound. You are more creative, more productive, more resilient, and more satisfied when you are well rested. Rest is not the enemy of achievement. Rest is the foundation of achievement. And that foundation is where you are going to build your best year ever. Chapter 8. The Practice of Presence. You are rarely where you are. Physically, you are here. But mentally, you are everywhere else. Replaying yesterday. Rehearsing tomorrow. Planning. Worrying. Imagining. Anywhere but here. Anytime but now. This is the human condition, but it's been amplified by modern life. Notifications pull you into the digital world. Your to-do list pulls you into the future. Your regrets pull you into the past. And the present moment, the only moment that actually exists, is the one place you are not. Presence is not a spiritual luxury. It's a practical necessity. Because life only happens now. This moment is the only moment you can act in. The past is gone. The future doesn't exist yet. All you have is now. And if you are not here for it, you are not living. You are just existing. Somewhere else. Somewhen else. The practice of presence is learning to be where you are. Fully. Completely. With your whole attention. This sounds simple. It's extraordinarily difficult. Because your mind is conditioned to wander. It's looking for problems to solve, threats to avoid, opportunities to seize. Staying present requires training. Presence has immediate benefits. When you are present, you perform better. Athletes call it being in the zone. Musicians call it flow. Whatever you call it, it's a state of complete absorption where your skill level matches the challenge perfectly. You are not thinking about past mistakes or future outcomes. You are just acting. And your performance is at its peak. When you are present, you enjoy life more. Food tastes better when you are actually tasting it. Conversations are richer when you are actually listening. Nature is more beautiful when you are actually seeing it. The quality of every experience increases when you are fully engaged with it. When you are present, anxiety decreases. Anxiety is almost always about the future. What if this happens? What if that doesn't happen? When you bring your attention back to the present moment, anxiety loses its grip. Because at this moment, right now, you are usually okay. When you are present, relationships deepen. The greatest gift you can give someone is your full attention. Not your partial attention while you are thinking about something else. Not your distracted attention while you are checking your phone. Your full presence. People feel it when you are truly with them. So how do you practice presence? There are multiple entry points. The breath is the most accessible. Your breath is always happening now. When you bring attention to your breath, you anchor yourself in the present. Notice the inhale. Notice the pause. Notice the exhale. Notice the pause. Just this. When your mind wanders, gently return to the breath. This is meditation in its simplest form. And you can do it anywhere, anytime. Waiting in line, sitting in traffic, before a difficult conversation, during a stressful moment. Just come back to the breath. This single practice can transform your life. The body is another anchor. Your body is always in the present. When you bring attention to physical sensations, you ground yourself in now. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice the texture of what you are touching. Feel the air on your skin. This brings you back. Senses are present moment portals. When you fully engage a sense, you are present. Really look at what you are seeing. Really listen to what you are hearing. Really taste what you are eating. Really feel what you are touching. Really smell what you are smelling. Each sense is a doorway to now. Try this. Once a day, eat one meal with full attention. No screens, no reading, no distractions. Just eating. Notice the appearance of the food. The smell. The texture. The temperature. The taste. How the flavors change as you chew. The sensation of swallowing. The fullness gradually developed. This one practice will change your relationship with food and with presence. You'll enjoy the meal more. You'll eat less because you'll actually notice when you are satisfied. And you'll strengthen your capacity for presence in other areas. Another practice, single task. When you are doing something, only do that thing. When you are washing dishes, only wash dishes. When you are walking, only walk. When you are talking, only talk. This seems boring because you are addicted to stimulation. But it's actually peaceful. And it trains its presence. Movement is a powerful presence practice. Yoga, Tai Chi, martial arts, dance, these are all forms of moving meditation. They require you to be present with your body, coordinating movement with breath. But any movement can be meditative if you bring full attention to it. Walking, running, swimming. Just stay with the sensations. Nature facilitates presence. Something about being in nature makes it easier to be present. Maybe it's the lack of digital stimulation. Maybe it's our evolutionary connection to natural environments. Whatever it is, spending time in nature without headphones, without agenda, just being, is incredibly grounding. Presence also requires releasing attachment to outcomes. When you are worried about how something will turn out, you are not present. You are projecting into the future. Presence is engaging fully with the process without attachment to results. Doing your best in this moment and letting go of the outcome. This is challenging because we are taught that outcomes matter most. But actually, process is what you control. Outcomes are influenced by many factors beyond your control. When you focus on outcomes, you create anxiety. When you focus on the process, you create mastery. The practice of presence also means accepting what is. Not everything is pleasant. Some present moments are painful, uncomfortable, boring, or difficult. Presence doesn't mean only being present for good moments. It means being present for all moments. When you are feeling a difficult emotion, presence means feeling it rather than distracting yourself from it. When you are in a boring situation, presence means being in that boredom rather than escaping into your phone. When you are uncomfortable, presence means experiencing the discomfort rather than immediately trying to fix it. This acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means acknowledging reality as it is before deciding how to respond. You can't respond effectively to something you are denying or avoiding. Presence gives you clear perception, which allows for effective action. The practice of presence is also noticeable when you are not present. This is the key. You can't force yourself to be present. But you can notice when you've drifted and gently return. This noticing and returning is the practice. It's like training a puppy. The puppy wanders off. You gently bring it back. It wanders again. You bring it back. Over and over. Your mind is the puppy. It will wander. Constantly. This is normal. The practice is not perfect. The practice is noticing when you've left and coming back. Over and over. Each time you return, you strengthen the neural pathways for presence. Presence is not a state you achieve once and maintain forever. It's a practice you return to constantly. You'll never be present all the time. But you can be present more often. And each moment of presence is valuable, regardless of how many moments of non-presence came before or after. In 2026, you are going to practice presence. You are going to anchor in your breath, your body, your senses. You are going to single task. You are going to spend time in nature. You are going to eat mindfully. You are going to move consciously. You are going to accept what is. And you are going to notice when you drift and return. This practice will change everything. Your anxiety will decrease. Your enjoyment will increase. Your relationships will deepen. Your performance will improve. Your life will become richer, fuller, more vivid. Not because anything external changed, but because you are finally here for it. Chapter 9. The Art of Letting Go. You are carrying too much. Not physically, although maybe that too, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You are carrying grudges, regrets, resentments, old identities, expired relationships, outdated beliefs, ancient wounds. You are carrying weight that was never yours to hold. And it's crushing you. The art of letting go is not about giving up or being passive. It's about releasing what doesn't serve you so you can hold what does. It's about emptying your hands of the past so you can receive the future. It's about making space. But letting go is hard because holding on feels safer. Even if what you are holding is painful, it's familiar. The known pain feels more manageable than the unknown possibility. So you cling. To relationships that died years ago. To dreams that no longer fit. To versions of yourself that you've outgrown. To anger at people who wronged you. To guilt about your mistakes. To fear what might happen. This clinging creates suffering. Not the suffering of the original event, but the suffering of refusing to release it. The wound has healed, but you keep picking the scab. The relationship has ended, but you keep replaying it. The opportunity has passed, but you keep lamenting it. This is self-inflicted suffering. And letting go is the cure. What do you need to let go of? Let go of grudges. Holding anger towards someone who hurt you doesn't punish them. It punishes you. You are the one carrying the emotional weight. You are the one whose energy is drained by resentment. You are the one who can't move forward because you are anchored in the past. Forgiveness is not about them. It's about you. It's not saying what they did was okay. It's saying you are no longer willing to carry the emotional burden of it. Forgiveness is unlocking yourself from their actions. It's choosing your peace over your right to be angry. Let go of regret. You made mistakes. You chose wrong. You hurt people. You wasted time. You missed opportunities. Yes. And you can't change any of it. The past is fixed. No amount of regret will alter what happened. Regret is only useful if it creates learning. Once you've learned the lesson, let the regret go. Your past self did the best they could with the awareness, resources, and emotional state they had at the time. With your current awareness, you see what you should have done differently. But you didn't have that awareness then. Be compassionate with your past self. Learn. Apologize if needed. Make amends if possible. Then release. Let go of who you were. You've changed. You are not the same person you were 5 years ago, 5 months ago, maybe 5 days ago. But you are still carrying the identity of who you were. Still defining yourself by old stories. Still limited by old self-concepts. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to want different things. You are allowed to believe different beliefs. You are allowed to become someone new. But you can't become the new version while clinging to the old version. You have to let the old self die so the new self can be born. Let go of other people's opinions. What they think of you is not your business. It's not your responsibility. It's not your burden. Whether they approve or disapprove, understand or misunderstand, support or judge, that's about them. Not you. You cannot control anyone's perception. You can be good to someone and they might still think poorly of you. You can explain yourself perfectly and they might still misunderstand. Their opinion is formed by their experiences, their wounds, their perspective. It's not an objective truth about you. So let it go. Stop managing people's opinions. Stop trying to make everyone understand. Stop seeking universal approval. Be yourself. Do what you believe is right. And let people think whatever they think. Let go of perfection. You are not supposed to be perfect. You are supposed to be human. Humans make mistakes, have flaws, struggle, fail, and learn. That's the process. That's how growth happens. Perfection is not the goal. Progress is. Your perfectionism is not helping you. It's crippling you. It's keeping you from starting because you can't do it perfectly. It's making you obsess over minor flaws instead of celebrating major wins. It's creating anxiety and shame instead of motivation and growth. Let go of the need to be perfect. Embrace being imperfect but improving. Embrace being flawed but trying. Embrace being messy but authentic. This is where real transformation happens. Let go of timelines. You thought you'd be further along by now. You thought you'd have achieved more, earned more, become more. You are comparing your actual timeline to your imagined timeline and feeling behind. But that imagined timeline was arbitrary. It was based on comparison, on societal expectations, on fantasy. Real life doesn't follow neat timelines. Growth is nonlinear. Success is unpredictable. Your path is unique. Letting go of the timeline you thought you should be on allows you to appreciate the timeline you are actually on. You are not behind. You are exactly where your journey has brought you. And that's exactly where you need to be. Let go of control. You can't control most things. You can't control other people. You can't control circumstances. You can't control outcomes. The only things you can control are your thoughts, your reactions, and your actions. Everything else is beyond your control. Yet you are exhausting yourself trying to control the uncontrollable. Trying to make people behave a certain way. Trying to force outcomes. Trying to prevent things from going wrong. This creates enormous stress and very little result. Letting go of control is not giving up. It's accepting reality. It's focusing your energy on what you actually can control and releasing what you can't. This is serenity. This is wisdom. This is peace. How do you practice letting go? First, acknowledge what you are holding. You can't release what you are unaware of. Name it. Write it down. Say it out loud. I'm holding anger toward my father. I'm holding regret about my career choice. I'm holding on to my identity as an athlete, even though I'm not anymore. Acknowledgement is the first step. Second, feel it. Don't try to let go intellectually. Feel the emotion fully. If you are angry, feel the anger. If you are sad, feel the sadness. If you are afraid, feel the fear. Emotions need to be felt to be released. What you resist persists. What you feel heals. Third, make the decision to release. This is a conscious choice. You are choosing to no longer carry this. You are not waiting for it to magically go away. You are actively deciding to let it go. Say, I release this anger. I release this regret. I release this need for control. Fourth, replace it. Letting go creates space. Fill that space intentionally with something you want. Replace anger with peace. Replace regret with gratitude. Replace control with trust. You can't leave a vacuum. Nature fills empty space. So fill it consciously with what you want instead of letting old patterns fill it unconsciously. Fifth, return to the decision. Letting go is not always a one-time event. Sometimes it's a repeated choice. The anger returns. The regret resurfaces. The control urge emerges. This is normal. Just make the decision again. I release this. Again and again until it finally stays released. Letting go is an art because it requires subtlety. You are not suppressing or avoiding. You are not pretending something didn't happen or didn't hurt. You are acknowledging it fully and then consciously choosing to release your attachment to it. This is a delicate balance. In 2026, you are going to practice letting go. You are going to release grudges, regrets, old identities, others' opinions, perfectionism, timelines, and control. You are going to make space. And in that space, you are going to find lightness, peace, and freedom. Your hands are currently full of the past. Open them. Let it fall. Your future is waiting for you to reach for it. But you can't reach until you let go. Chapter 10. The Currency of Time. Time is your most valuable currency. More valuable than money because you can always earn more money, but you can never earn more time. More valuable than possessions because possessions can be replaced, but moments cannot. More valuable than attention because attention is how you spend time. Yet most people treat time carelessly. They waste it. They give it away freely. They spend it on things that don't matter. And they wonder why life feels empty, why they never achieve their goals, why years pass without meaningful progress. You have approximately 4,000 weeks if you live to 80. Subtract the years you've already lived, and the number gets smaller. This is not meant to create panic. It's meant to create perspective. Your time is finite, limited, non-renewable, and how you spend it determines the quality and meaning of your entire existence. The currency of time requires a radical shift in how you think about daily choices. Every time you say yes to something, you are saying no to something else. Every hour spent is an hour invested somewhere. Every day is purchasing something with your time, whether you are conscious of it or not. What are you buying with your time? Are you buying growth, relationships, health, creativity, or are you buying distraction, numbing, avoidance, comfort? The transactions happen whether you are paying attention or not. But consciousness allows you to spend intentionally rather than accidentally. Most people are time poor not because they don't have time, but because they don't know where their time goes. They have no time budget. They don't track spending. They don't audit expenses. And they wonder why they are broke in hours. Here's an exercise. Track your time for 1 week. Every hour, write down what you did. Be honest. Include scrolling, watching TV, worrying, procrastinating. At the end of the week, categorize how much time went to work, to relationships, to health, to learn, to entertainment, distraction, to nothing. Most people are shocked by the results. Hours vanish into activities they can't even remember. Time is being spent, but nothing is being purchased. It's like spending money and having nothing to show for it. Once you know where your time goes, you can make different choices. You can stop spending time on low-value activities and invest more in high-value ones. This is not about eliminating all rest or fun. It's about being intentional, choosing your investments rather than drifting through your days. The Pareto principle applies to time. 20% of your activities produce 80% of your results, which means 80% of what you do produces only 20% of your results. Most of your time is spent on low-leverage activities. If you could identify and focus on the high-leverage 20%, you'd multiply your effectiveness while actually doing less. What are your 20% activities? The activities that, if done consistently, would transform your life? For most people, it's things like deep work on your most important project, exercise, quality time with loved ones, learning skills that compound, building systems that create passive results. Yet these activities often get pushed aside for urgent but unimportant things. Emails, meetings, busy work, other people's priorities. And at the end of the day, you've been busy but you haven't moved forward. The currency of time also means understanding the concept of time wealth. Time wealth is not having lots of free time. It's having sovereignty over your time. It's being able to choose how you spend your hours. It's not being controlled by other people's schedules or demands. Many people chase money thinking it will buy them time and freedom. But then they work 80-hour weeks to earn that money. They are trading time now for potential time later. Sometimes this trade makes sense, but often it doesn't. Often, they never reach the point where they have time freedom because they're always chasing more money. Time wealth is also about quality, not just quantity. You could have 100 hours of free time, but if you are exhausted, stressed, or uninspired, those hours are low quality. Time wealth is having energy, health, and clarity to fully engage with your free time. Another aspect of time currency is that different hours have different values. Your most alert, creative, energetic hours are premium hours. They are worth more than your tired, depleted, distracted hours. Yet most people waste premium hours on low-value activities and try to do important work during low-energy hours. Identify your premium hours. For many people, it's morning. Fresh mind, full energy, minimal distractions. Protect these hours fiercely. Use them for your most important work. Don't waste them on email, meetings, or administrative tasks. Those can happen during lower value hours. Time also compounds. How you spend today shapes tomorrow. If you spend today learning, tomorrow you are more knowledgeable. If you spend today building relationships, tomorrow you are more connected. If you spend today creating, tomorrow you have more to show. But if you spend today in distraction, tomorrow you are in the same place. No growth, no progress, no accumulation. Just another day spent and nothing gained. This is why small daily investments compound dramatically. 15 minutes of reading daily becomes 90 hours per year. That's multiple books worth of knowledge. 30 minutes of exercise daily becomes 180 hours per year. That's a transformed body. 1 hour of skill practice daily becomes 365 hours per year. That's expert-level competency. But these compound effects require consistency. 1 day of reading won't change you. 1 day of exercise won't transform your body. The power is in the repetition, in the compound effect of daily investment over time. The currency of time also teaches brutal prioritization. You cannot do everything. You cannot be everywhere. You cannot have all the experiences. You must choose. And every choice eliminates other options. This is the opportunity cost of time. When you choose to spend 2 hours scrolling social media, you are not spending those 2 hours learning a new skill. The cost is not just the time itself. It's also what you could have gained in that time. This is why time wasting is so expensive. You are paying double, losing the time and losing the potential gain. Rich people understand this. They ruthlessly protect their time. They delegate low-value tasks. They say no to most opportunities. They are selective about who gets access. Not because they are arrogant, but because they understand time is their most limited resource. You don't need to be rich to think like this. You just need to value your time accordingly. Treat your hours like you'd treat $100 bills. Would you just hand those out to anyone who asks? Would you leave them lying around? Would you spend them on things that don't matter? Probably not. So why do you do that with your time? In 2026, you are going to change your relationship with time. You are going to track where it goes. You are going to identify your high-leverage activities and prioritize them. You are going to protect your premium hours. You are going to make small daily investments in that compound. You are going to prioritize ruthlessly. And you are going to treat your time as the precious, limited, irreplaceable resource it actually is. Time is passing whether you are conscious of it or not. Whether you are using it well or wasting it. Whether you are intentional or accidental. The only question is, what are you buying with your time? And is it worth the price? Chapter 11. The Strength in Stillness. The modern world is obsessed with motion. Doing. Moving. Producing. Achieving. Action is worshipped. Busyness is a status symbol. Rest is seen as laziness. But there's a different kind of power that's being overlooked. The strength in stillness. Stillness is not doing nothing. Stillness is being completely present without needing to do anything. It's the opposite of the frenetic energy that dominates modern life. It's calm in the midst of chaos. It's peace in the presence of pressure. It's power that doesn't need to prove itself. Think about a mountain. It doesn't move, yet it commands respect. It doesn't perform, yet it inspires awe. It doesn't rush, yet it endures. The mountain's power is in its stillness. This is the power available to you, but you are too busy moving to access it. Stillness is where clarity emerges. When you are constantly in motion, your perspective is limited to what's immediately in front of you. You are reacting, responding, managing. But when you are still, you can see the bigger picture. You can think strategically instead of reactively. You can choose your path instead of being swept along by circumstances. Most bad decisions are made in motion. You are rushed, stressed, reactive. You don't have time to think clearly, so you make impulsive choices. But in stillness, you have perspective. You can weigh options. You can see the consequences. You can choose wisely. Stillness is also where you build resilience. Life will always have turbulence, challenges, setbacks, losses, changes. You can't control these external circumstances, but you can control your internal state. And a still, centered internal state is like a deep-rooted tree. The wind might blow, but the tree doesn't fall. Most people's inner state is chaotic. Their mood fluctuates with circumstances. Good news, happy. Bad news, devastated. Someone's approval, elated. Someone's criticism, crushed. They are like a leaf in the wind, blown in every direction. But when you cultivate stillness, you develop an inner anchor. Circumstances still affect you, but they don't control you. You can experience emotions without being overwhelmed by them. You can face challenges without falling apart. You have stability from within. Stillness is also the source of creativity. All great art, all innovation, all breakthrough thinking comes from stillness. Not from hustling or grinding or forcing, but from allowing. from being quiet enough for inspiration to arrive, from creating space for ideas to emerge. You cannot force creativity. You can only create the conditions for it. And the primary condition is stillness. A mind that's constantly busy, constantly consuming, constantly moving is too full for new ideas. But a still mind is like clear water. It reflects. It receives. It generates. Stillness is also deeply healing. Your body heals during stillness, during sleep, during rest, during meditation. Your mind processes during stillness, integrating experiences, consolidating memories, making meaning. Your emotions settle during stillness, anger cools, sadness softens, anxiety eases. But if you are never still, healing never fully happens. You are constantly rewounding, constantly agitating, constantly stirring up what needs to settle. You are keeping yourself in a state of perpetual activation, and activation is the opposite of healing. So how do you cultivate stillness? It's a practice, not a destination. You don't achieve stillness and maintain it forever. You return to it again and again. Meditation is the most direct practice. Sitting in silence, watching your thoughts without engaging them, anchoring in your breath. This is stillness practice. Start with 5 minutes daily. No judgment about doing it right or wrong. Just sitting. Just being. Time in nature facilitates stillness. There's something about being in natural environments that calms the nervous system. Walk in a forest. Sit by water. Watch the sky. No headphones. No agenda. Just being present with the natural world. Reduce inputs. Stillness is impossible when you are constantly consuming information. Turn off notifications. Schedule specific times for email and social media instead of checking constantly. Create periods of no input where your mind can just be. Practice doing nothing. This sounds ridiculous in a productivity-obsessed culture, but it's essential. Schedule time where you're not working, not consuming entertainment, not being productive. Just sitting. Just being. Your mind will resist. That's okay. Sit through the resistance. Breathe consciously. Throughout your day, take moments to just breathe. 3 deep breaths. Noticing the inhale, noticing the exhale. This brings you back to stillness even in the middle of activity. Move slowly. Most people move frantically, rushing, multitasking, hurrying. Try moving slowly and deliberately. Walking slower. Eating slower. Transitioning between activities slower. This physical slowness creates mental stillness. Create rituals of stillness. Morning silence before you start the day. Evening reflection before you sleep. These bookend rituals create containers of stillness that anchor your day. Stillness also means emotional stillness. Not suppressing emotions, but not being swept away by them either. When emotion arises, you feel it but don't immediately react to it. You create space between the feeling and the action. This space is stillness. This space is power. In conflict, stillness is your greatest asset. When someone is agitated, your stillness is calming. When someone is attacking, your stillness prevents escalation. When someone is trying to provoke you, your stillness protects you. You don't take the bait. You don't react. You respond from stillness. Stillness is also magnetic. Still people attract others. There's something calming about being around someone who's centered and grounded. People who are constantly agitated are exhausting to be around. People who are still are restful to be around. Leaders who operate from stillness are more effective than those who operate from chaos. They make better decisions. They inspire more confidence. They handle crises more effectively. Because they are not reactive. They are responsive. There's a gap between stimulus and response, and that gap is filled with stillness. The strength in stillness is not weakness. It's not passive. It's not disengagement. It's active presence without reaction. It's being fully here without needing to do anything about it. It's power that doesn't need to announce itself. In 2026, you are going to cultivate stillness. You are going to meditate, spend time in nature, reduce inputs, practice doing nothing, breathe consciously, move slowly, and create rituals. You are going to build an inner anchor that holds steady regardless of external circumstances. And you are going to discover that stillness is not the absence of power. Stillness is power in its purest form, concentrated, contained, complete. Chapter 12. The Wisdom of Simplicity. You are surrounded by complexity. Complex schedules, complex relationships, complex finances, complex goals, complex commitments. You've accumulated so much, materially and mentally and emotionally, that your life feels overwhelming. And in that overwhelm, you've lost sight of what actually matters. The wisdom of simplicity is this: less is more. Not as a platitude, but as a practical truth. Less possessions means less to manage. Less commitments means more space. Less goals means more focus. Less complexity means more clarity. Simplicity is not about deprivation. It's about liberation. It's removing what's unnecessary so the necessary can shine. It's clearing the clutter so you can see what's essential. It's saying no to the good so you can say yes to the great. Start with possessions. Look around your space. How much of what you own do you actually use? How much brings you joy or serves a purpose? How much is just there, taking up space, collecting dust, creating visual clutter? Every possession has a cost. Not just the purchase price, but the ongoing cost of maintenance, storage, mental energy. Every item you own requires a tiny bit of your attention. And the cumulative effect of hundreds or thousands of items is mental clutter. Simplicity says, keep what serves you, release what doesn't. This is not minimalism for its own sake. It's about curating your environment so it supports rather than drains you. A clear space creates a clear mind. Try this. For the next month, notice what you actually use. Clothes you actually wear, tools you actually use, items you actually engage with. At the end of the month, everything you didn't touch is a candidate for removal. You might not need it. You might not miss it. And its absence might actually make your life lighter. Now apply this to commitments. How many things are you committed to? Professionally, personally, socially. How many of these commitments actually align with your priorities? How many are you doing out of obligation, guilt, or habit? Every commitment is a claim on your time and energy. And time and energy are your most limited resources. When you say yes to everything, you have nothing left for what matters most. Simplicity means ruthlessly evaluating commitments and keeping only those that serve your highest priorities. This requires courage because it means disappointing people. It means admitting that something that once mattered doesn't anymore. It means changing your mind. But the alternative is continuing to pour your life into things that don't align with who you are becoming. That's not virtue. That's self-abandonment. Simplicity also applies to goals. How many goals are you pursuing simultaneously? Weight loss, career advancement, relationship improvement, learning new skills, building a business, improving finances, traveling more. Each goal requires focus. When you have 10 goals, you have no focus. You are spreading yourself so thin that nothing progresses meaningfully. The wisdom of simplicity says, 1 to 3 major goals maximum. Not forever. Just for this season. Focus intensely on these few things until they are established. Then you can shift focus to something else. But not everything at once. Simplicity of focus creates depth of progress. Simplicity also means simple systems. You don't need elaborate, complicated systems for productivity or health or finance. Simple systems executed consistently beat complex systems attempted sporadically. Morning routine? Keep it simple. 3 to 5 core practices, done daily. Not a 2-hour elaborate ritual you can't sustain. Simple and consistent. Exercise? Keep it simple. 3 to 4 days per week. Basic movements. not a complicated program that requires specialized equipment and perfect conditions. Finances? Keep it simple. Spend less than you earn. Save a percentage automatically. Invest consistently. Not complex strategies that require constant attention. Simple systems are maintainable. Complex systems fall apart under pressure or during busy seasons. Simple endures. Simplicity also extends to communication. Say what you mean. Mean what you say. Don't over-explain, over-justify, or overcomplicate. Clear and simple communication prevents misunderstandings and builds trust. When you ask for something, be direct. When you set a boundary, be clear. When you give feedback, be straightforward. Not rude. Not harsh. Just simple and honest. Simplicity in relationships means quality over quantity. How many people are you trying to maintain relationships with? How many of these relationships actually nourish you? How many are maintained out of habit or obligation? Deep, meaningful relationships require time and energy. You cannot maintain depth with dozens of people. Simplicity means focusing on the relationships that matter most and letting superficial connections fade naturally. This doesn't mean being cold or unfriendly. It means being realistic about your capacity and intentional about your investments. A few deep friendships are more valuable than many shallow acquaintances. Simplicity also means single tasking, which we've discussed, but it bears repeating. One thing at a time. This is the essence of simplicity in action. Not doing many things simultaneously and half-assing all of them. Doing one thing fully and completing it well. Simplicity in decision-making. Fewer choices create less decision fatigue. Steve Jobs wore the same thing daily. Obama had to suit colors. Not because they lacked resources, but because they understood that every decision consumes mental energy. Simplify where it doesn't matter, so you have energy for where it does. Can you simplify your wardrobe? Your meal planning? Your daily routines? The more decisions you can automate or eliminate, the more mental energy you preserve for important decisions. Simplicity also applies to information consumption. You are drowning in information. News, social media, articles, books, podcasts, videos. It's impossible to consume it all. And trying creates overwhelm and anxiety. Simplicity says, consume less, digest more. Instead of reading 20 articles superficially, read too deeply. Instead of following 100 people, follow 10 whose perspective you value. Instead of trying to know everything, focus on knowing deeply about what matters to you. Depth over breadth. Quality over quantity. This is simplicity in the information age. The wisdom of simplicity is also about language. Simple language is more powerful than complex language. Short sentences. Clear words. Direct communication. This is not dumbing down. This is clarifying. Making your meaning accessible. People respect clarity. People trust simplicity. Complexity is often a hiding place for unclear thinking or insecurity. When you truly understand something, you can explain it simply. Simplicity also creates beauty. Look at any classic design, architecture, art, fashion. The enduring pieces are simple. Clean lines. Essential elements. No unnecessary ornamentation. Simplicity is elegant. Complexity is cluttered. Apply this to your life. What can be removed without loss? What can be simplified without sacrifice? Where is complexity hiding simplicity? In 2026, you are going to embrace simplicity. You are going to declutter your space, simplify your commitments, focus your goals, create simple systems, communicate directly, invest in few deep relationships, single task, reduce choices, consume less information, and express yourself clearly. And you are going to discover that less really is more. More space, more clarity, more peace, more energy, more focus, more progress, more meaning. Simplicity is not about having less. It's about having exactly what you need and nothing more. It's about designing a life that fits you perfectly instead of trying to fit your life into everything available. This is wisdom. This is freedom. This is simplicity. And here we are, at the end of these words but at the beginning of your transformation. Everything you've heard has been preparing you for this moment. The moment you choose. The moment you commit. The moment you step into 2026 as someone different. You know now that the noise is optional. That you can opt out. That silence is where your power lives. You know that multitasking is a myth and that focus is your superpower. You know that motivation is unreliable and that systems, identity, and environment are what actually change your life. You know that comparison is a trap and that your only real competition is who you were yesterday. You know that boredom is a gift, not a curse. Those boundaries are self-respect, not selfishness. That rest is essential, not earned. That presence is the only place life happens. You know that letting go creates space for what matters. That time is your most valuable currency. That stillness is strength. That simplicity is wisdom. That responsibility is freedom. That gratitude transforms perception. And that your future self is being created right now by the choices you make today. You know all this now. And knowing is the first step. But knowing alone changes nothing. Application changes everything. Practice changes everything. Showing up every day changes everything. So this is your invitation, your challenge, your opportunity. Take one practice from this audiobook. Just one. Not all of them. One. The one that resonated most. The one that felt most needed. The one that scared you a little because you know it would change you. Take that one practice and commit to it for 30 days. Every single day. Whether you feel like it or not. Whether it's convenient or not. Whether anyone notices or not. Just show up to that one practice for 30 days. And watch what happens. Watch how one small change creates a ripple effect. Watch how one practice begins to shift your entire life. Watch how showing up for yourself builds self-trust, which builds confidence, which creates momentum, which attracts opportunities, which transforms your reality. This is not a theory. This is a tested truth. This is how transformation actually works. Not through massive overhauls that overwhelm you, but through one small practice, repeated consistently, until it changes who you are. 2026 is not going to be easy. Growth never is. There will be days you don't feel like showing up. Days you doubt whether any of this matters. Days you want to quit. Days you fall back into old patterns. But on those days, remember why you started. Remember the person you are becoming. Remember that every single person who's ever transformed themselves had days of doubt. I had moments of wanting to quit. The difference between those who transformed and those who didn't is not perfection. It's persistence. It's getting back up. I'm trying again. It's refusing to abandon themselves. You are capable of more than you realize. You have more strength than you've accessed. You have more potential than you've expressed. And this year is your opportunity to discover just how powerful you actually are. Not through talking about it. Not through planning for someday. But through action. Through practice. Through showing up for yourself when nobody's watching. Through building in silence. Through focusing on yourself instead of performing for others. This is your time. This is your year. This is your silent revolution. And it starts the moment you close this audiobook and make a choice. The choice to be different. The choice to try. The choice to show up. The choice to become. So go. Close this. And begin. Begin your practice. Begin your transformation. Begin your emergence. Begin your life. 2026 is waiting for you. But more importantly, the person you are capable of becoming is waiting for you. Don't make them wait any longer. Focus on yourself. Stay silent. and build a life so powerful that your results speak louder than your words ever could. This is your year. Make it legendary.